Portugal, and we had a 2-minute hill run, which was literally just like this. And cars are driving past you, you can hear like, and you did it every single day to the point where you were broken. Like anyone who did that pre-season, we're like united forever for the rest of our lives because we survived it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then there are other ones where the manager says, hey, look at the balls out. Let's play some nice football. Got to work on this. You know, just relax, take your time, enjoy yourself. We'll get there.
Yeah.
And I much preferred those ones, let's say that.
So is that kind of part of it then, is actually team bonding as well, you know, to actually get that togetherness before the start of the season?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, talking about the running part, for me, if I was always towards the end, you got those who finished early, then they're there and they're sort of encouraging you. They may come back because you're a minute behind and they're encouraging you through. So you still have somewhat of a strong finish. So that's where that camaraderie comes in. Say, come on, keep it going. So whatever work you're doing, you know, the guys who are the fittest will come back and sort of help you through it. And each week goes by, you're getting a little bit fitter, a little bit fitter. And for me, I was always like somewhere towards like the fifth from the back. Yeah. But my target was always that guy that was 50 meters in front of me or 100 meters. Can I catch him? And by week 3, I was like up with him. Yeah. And that's right. I'm coming.
I used to be a middle of the pack guy. Yeah. And then as time passed, like the concepts of people relaxing after in an off season changed. And off season became pre-season. So people started getting after it and really getting after it. And it got to the point where one of the last years I was doing it, the goalkeepers were finishing in the top 10 and stuff like this. Oh, wow. And I was like, I'm out. No, I'm not doing this anymore. Because then whenever you do things like your test, bleep test, you wait for the goalkeeper, everyone's running, you're like, it's going to do it in a second. Yeah. He's got to go on soon. Yeah. That's the bare minimum.
Guys, I have to put you on the spot though. Best and worst teammates in a pre-season. We'll start with the best. Who would always lead by example? Was there ever a standout?
Jeff Whitley was just fit, I would say, and Paul Dickoff.
Really, yeah.
Paul Dickoff was fit. I don't know how he did it, but he just kept on running. And Jeff Whitley, Jeff Whitley, we just covered that ground. So he was just really fit, a natural fit guy, and I don't know how he did it. You know, I was normally ailing, trying to recover, and he's ready for the second session. He was just generally a fit guy.
I think for me it depends, because in the first week it's all about endurance, but as you get later on, you start including short distances and more speed. But if I'm to talk about the first week, the worst ones were Ishmael Miller and Micah Richards, because they were the literal definitions of a stiff back. You know, anything longer than a minute or two, you just see him just moving like this. I say, oh, that's cool, man. That's just the way it is. But get them to week 2, week 3, week 4. Incredible.
Another question I had, only because, well, sometimes if I've ever done a little bit of filming abroad or whatever, it's always very different. It's a different kind of feel to if we were filming in the UK. Obviously, under maybe normal circumstances, you enjoy a lovely kind of new country, maybe in a nice hot country. So then, did it kind of give it a little bit of a holiday feel as a team, or would you always actually just be reminded, no, we're here to work?
Yeah, listen, I'm going to be real quick with this one. We were always here to work, but I remember we went, I think it was Denmark, we were away. Some of the new signings, right? This was towards the end of my time. Some of the new boys were going McDonald's. So I was like, they're really settled. Yeah. They're really settled. Yeah. I call no names, but Sean Wright was one of them. Yeah. Sean Wright used to go, Gaffer, but I got a salad sandwich. And we're like, mate, it's McDonald's. You're not getting away with it.
Yeah. And I think that for me, it would depend where the manager was and where you were staying. Because, but to be honest with you, there was a time where we stayed in New Jersey, just looking across at New York, and you could go there as many times as you want, because the manager at the time wanted to go and experience that himself. But then there was another manager where we stayed in like a little village somewhere in Germany, which had nothing for about 20 miles around it. So it's not quite the holiday you would choose to go for, let's just say that.
Yeah, fair enough. If you've just tuned in, I've got with me, of course, Nader Manua and Sean Gota. We are talking about our first pre-season game against Preston North End, taking place here at the CFA. And if you want to watch it, City Plus is the place to do it. Very simple. Just jump on the website, sign up, subscribe, and you can watch the game in its entirety, of course, with all the other content on there. And you'll get our EDS games throughout the season and the women's game as well. And another little treat for you, just to tease you in that little bit more, none other than Sean Gota is going to be joining Alistair Mann on the commentary. Have you been brushing up on the old commentary skills, Sean?
Absolutely not. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Sean's going to be leaving just 2 minutes to go join Alistair Mann. So if that does not get you excited to watch this game, I don't know what will. So please do go subscribe. And I'll bring you the Manchester City team for our game against Preston North End. It looks like this. So, straight in for Zach Stefan in goal and Ruben Diaz, who only came back to training yesterday. Also at the back, we'll have Nathan Ake, Benjamin Mendy and João Cancelo. Fernandinho in the middle, I think that will possibly be with Ike Pozo. And of course, I think maybe Morgan Rogers or Cole Palmer. And Ben Knight is also there with Riyad Mahrez. On our bench, we've got Kieran Slicker, Philippe Sandler, Patrick Roberts, Jan Couto, Pablo Moreno, Sam Adozie, CJ Egan-Riley, Shea Charles, 17 years old, wow, Matt Smith, Luke Bolton, Claudio Gomez, James McAtee, Mika Hamilton and Finley Burns. Now, of course, we would love nothing more than to have had some fans join us here. By the way, Sean has gone off to the commentary booth, so we'll be excited to hear him in just a bit. But, Nadim, it's very welcome news, isn't it, that, of course, we've got capacity for the Community Shield game against Leicester, and we're going to be welcoming fans back to the Etihad Stadium. How big do you think that's going to be for this season and for the players? Yeah,
it's going to be absolutely incredible. You know, when we see the summer that we just had in terms of, say, European championships and stuff like that, there were certain games which just felt different because you could hear the audience. There wasn't somebody in a booth pressing a button, you know, and you get a different sense. Everything in the field is big now. There's a great connection between the fans and the players, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. I think at times we took it for granted how important that sort of atmosphere was, but then as soon as it went away, like, all those little things remind you, like, this is why you love doing the job that you do. And I think for the players, seeing the fans being back out there, like, you know, I was at the last game of the season, like yourself, against Everton, and the players running out, clapping, Kevin De Bruyne scoring and celebrating with the fans in the corner. It's like, it gives you goosebumps. And to see that back, it's a great opportunity for fans to get back to doing and seeing what they love, and for the players to be able to perform in front of an audience that are trying to will them on. I think that's going to be absolutely incredible. Yeah, of course. Well, guys, of course, we've announced the allocation for the Community Shield, and then very much we are looking forward to welcoming you back to the Etihad Stadium. That first game of the season is going to be so special. A final word, because of course we've got a whole load of young players. This is a stadium and a pitch that they're going to be used to. Yes. So will that actually kind of, you know, that must be nice to have a little bit of familiarity. Without a doubt. You know, if you're going to be playing potentially your first game for the first team in a stadium which is your own, you know, that's a lot nicer than maybe going somewhere incredibly hostile. You know, I wouldn't necessarily fancy, well, not fancy, but I wouldn't necessarily love some of these guys to be playing their first game away at Deepdale in front of a full crowd. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's nice, but, you know, it's pre-season. I think they're going to enjoy it. It's a great opportunity. See how the very best of the best prepare for games, see how they play in games, see if you can fit in, and see what your future looks like. Well, before we kind of leave you, and we're going to hand over to Alistair Mann and Sean Gota, who have got your commentary for this game. Remember, do you know where to watch it? If I've not said it before, City Plus, the only place. It literally is on my microphone. I've just been told. Exactly, subliminal messaging. Nadim, if you were to maybe give us one or two players to maybe keep an eye out that you're quite excited to see, who would it maybe be? So obviously the City regulars, they speak for themselves. Yep. But I'm looking in particular for Cole Palmer and Ben Knight today. Yeah, nice. Yeah, they're going to be the two I'm going to be seeing to see how they fit into that system, see how they look alongside a team which is a majority of first teamers. This should be very good. Absolutely. And do you think, you know, I mean, you've been in their position. What do you think they'll be thinking now? To be honest, the way these players are these days, they've got all the confidence in the world. You know what I mean? They've been playing in front of crowds and they've been known for a long time. You know, they don't just arrive at this instance and this is the biggest occasion. And for some of them, they've had bigger ones. So I think they'll be feeling good. They'll be feeling excited. I think they'll understand it's pre-season. But what a great opportunity, because like I said earlier, for this moment in history, the shirt is theirs. Yeah. You know, so make the most of it and enjoy it. Oh, what a moment it will be for them, and how great that we'll get to see it, and you can do it too if you're watching the game. The other one I'll throw at you coming from the bench, Jan Couto. Really excited to see that Brazilian fullback. He had a great season in Spain last year. Okay, guys, so we are very close to kick-off. The teams are inside. I think we can see some of our coaching staff coming out. So without further ado, I will now be handing over to Alistair Mann and Sean Gota. And don't forget, as we do with all our games, we are going to be bringing you half-time action, and then we'll be bringing you action at full-time as well, looking into the game, some key moments, and maybe what we've seen from this pre-season first game. Very exciting. Massive thank you to join us. Thank you to Sean. Thank you to Nadim. We'll see you at half-time. It's good to be back. Come on, City.
Tactical and emotional. in control and impulsive, animated, analytical, inventive, intensive, expressive and calm, passionate and intelligent. I am Pep Guardiola and this is the new Nissan Ariya.
في 6-6 في يونيو قد يتوج بالثلاثية في دوري أبطال أوروبا عندما يقابل الفريق الإيطالي الكبير نادي اليوفنتوس. تبدأ المباراة أيها السيدات والسادة. ميسي اللي كل ما قالوا انتهى فاجأهم ان ابتدأ. اي نعم، كل ما قالوا انتهى فاجأهم ان اوه الله. فريق عنده لاعب بقيمة الأسطورة ميسي عليه أن يكون جشعا. هذا هو ميسي، هذا هو النجم اللي العالم كل العالم يصحو على ميسي ويمسي على ميسي. لكن المساء حل منذ طبعا ساعتين وأكثر من ذلك في كل مكان في الوطن. الباسكي للأمام. هذا الموسم في مباراتين برشلونة كان قد فاز ذهابا وإيابا، والصافرة تأتي والصيحات من المدرجات كذلك تأتي، لأن هناك غضب بينما كان اللعب في المباراة النهائية. محاولة للأمام خطيرة، ويليامز الشاب الأسمراني الباسكي هنا وصلت في الجهة اليمنى عالية وللأمام وخطيرة. الكرة ماضية، فريق لا يركن للدفاع. نورث ويصل الفريق الباسكي، يهدد الفريق الباسكي. هذا الصباح وفي هذا الظهر وفي هذا المساء للحاضرين من طبعا من اقليم الباسك. هذه الكره تلعب جميله للامام، والسؤال المطروح النقاد والمهتمين والمتابعين: كيف يستطيع إرنستو فالفيردي مدرب نادي بلباو ان يضع الحلول لMSN؟ وتاتي المحاوله الله جميله لكن تسلل، حاله تسلل. الراية مرفوعة لكن ميسي مرة أخرى. نعم، أول وصول، أول تهديد. عينك على ميسي ما الذي يفعله بالكاس، لكن ذلك توقف منذ عام 84. هذه محاولة الآن من راكيتيتش خطيرة للأمام، حارس المرمى يتصدى في الكرة الماضية ولا وجود لخطأ، والكرة في المكان الخطير، فرصة للأمام والتسديدة تأتي والتصدي مرة أخرى، والكرة على ما يبدو إلى ضربة مرمى. 90 البرسا لعب المباراة النهائية لكأس الملك ب7 لاعبين، كان منهم فيجو وكان منهم رايزيجر الهولندي، وهذه الليلة 7 لاعبين أيضا يبدون. سيدات وسادة تتابعونها عبر قنوات. مرور من نيمار، العرقلة بعد ذلك، والخطأ موجود، والخطأ على بوستين الموجود من كل المدربين. كيف نحاصر ميسي؟ كيف نقف أمام ميسي؟ لا أحد يقف أمام ميسي. الكرة جميلة، والكرة كانت عن طريق بيكي، وصلت هنا إلى ميسي، محاصر بلاعبين، عنده سنتين مع الفريق اللاعب بالنسياغا. محاولة قائمة صافرة تأتي الآن. برشلونة في اللحظات الماضية الفريق الأفضل ميدانيا في أرضية الملعب، وهذا سان خوزيه اللاعب الممتاز بكل معنى الكلمة. طبعا الحديث هنا عن سان خوزيه الذي بالمناسبة اليوم وليس اللحظات الماضية. وبعد ذلك طبعا تألق حارس المرمى هيريرين في إبعاد. هذه كرة خطيرة تبدو الآن، ولكن الصافرة تأتي أجواء بكل معنى الكلمة في السوبر الإسباني. المباراة الأولى في سان ماميس، والمباراة الثانية في هذا الملعب، والمباراتين بحول الله تعالى عبر قنوات أبو ظبي الرياضية. هذه كرة، هذا ميسي، جول الحل ميسي. إذا غابت الحلول مالك إلا ميسي، إذا أغلقت الطرق فهنالك من يعرف طريقا آخر، إنه ميسي مرة أخرى يمسي على البرشلوني في كل مكان. أي والله، تو في الملعب شو اللي وداه المدرجات بالنسبة له هذا الكبير في الكامينو في هذه الليلة المثيرة والجميلة بكل معنى الكلمة. هدف للا شيء حتى الآن في المباراة النهائية. الآن وصلت إلى ميسي، وميسي في المكان. الله، جميلة حلوة الكرة الماضية. محاولة وصلت إلى ميسي، نقلت في المكان السليم، ما في تسلل، خطيرة. السيد إنريك خطيرة، فرصة. المخرج ما جابها من البداية، ولكنه كان يعيد لعبة ميسي. وهنا جيرار بيكي، فريق نادي برشلونة، الفريق اللي يستحوذ بالفعل. ووصلت الآن، وهذه خطيرة، جول. في هذه الليلة كرة لصالح اللاعب ريكو. امبوسيبل المستحيل ممكن. يعتقد البعض أنها هي أصبحت مستحيلة. أصبح ثالث لاعب يسجل في 3 نهائيات بعد طبعا 14، لأنه الرقم المفضل بالنسبة لي للاعب بقيمة كرويف. خطيرة، فرصة للأمام. وهذه الليلة لدينا في برشلونة لاعب القميص رقم 4، إنه راكيتيتش. من كان يرتدي القميص رقم 4 تاريخيا في تاريخ البرسا؟ إنه الكبير بيب جوارديولا، والكبير في كرة القدم الإسبانية. هذه محاولة من جانب ويليامز في الكرة الماضية لكن تبعد. 2009 سجل في 3-0 مع بيدرو، هدفين بيدرو وهدف لميسي. سجل في مباراة 4-1 في 2000. بل إنه يتلذذ بتحطيمه، يتلذذ. شوف عاد لما يتلذذ بتحقيق كل العصور، هو محق في ذلك. هذه كرة للأمام الآن، المرور، الله جميلة لا زالت ولا خطيرة الكرة الماضية والراسية. لكن قبل ذلك في لدينا طبعا وكان برشلونة وكان ربما كل لاعبي برشلونة يتمنون قدوم هذا اللاعب الذي جاء بعد ذلك خطير. الفريق بعد ذلك من أشهر الأسماء التي دربت الفريق مع مارتشيلو بيلسا. هذه كرة تلعب للأمام وهذه محاولة قائمة الآن وخطيرة، فرصة هدف، جول جول متعة ما بعدها متعة يا برشلونة. المتعة عنوانها برشلونة، ولا كأنهم يلعبون مباراة نهائية. يسهل طريق برشلونة ويصعب كذلك من مهمة الفريق الباسكي اللي معه، وبالتالي هذه كرة إلى صافرة، إلى وجود خطأ في الكرة الماضية. تبدو الأمور صعبة، مع ذلك الفريق الشجاع خطير. الله، حلوة حلوة الكرة الماضية، حلوة من الأسمراني الباسكي. هذا يحدث للمرة الأولى في تاريخ كرة القدم الإسبانية. خطأ أعتقد فيها انذار. نعم الانذار مستحق، أنا قلت انذار ولسه الحكم ما حط طبعا إيده. ضربة حرة مباشرة، كرة ملعوبة. الله الله في الكرة الماضية، كرة جميلة من ميسي بالقدم اليسرى. ياهي سنوات يعيشها ميسي. الشوط الأول من المباراة النهائية رقم 114 في كأس الملك الإسباني. الشوط الأول هنا في الكامب نو الكبير. والى بدايه الشوط الثاني من طبعا النهائي كاس الملك الاسباني هنا 2015 هنا في الكامب نو. الامور حسمت، تبدو الامور كذلك على الاقل حتى الان مع بدايه المباراه في شوطها الثاني. لكن عام بعد عام يرحل من المراقب المتابع، وكره خطيره، ولكن يطالب السيد فالفيردي بعوده لاعبيه في هذه اللحظات خطيره. هذا ميسي، هذا لاعب لا يشبه احدا ولا احد يشبهه، ولا يمكن لاحد ان يشبهه. هي بالنسبه للبرشلوني لحظه في غايه الحزن الان، لان هي اللحظات الاخيره طبعا مع البرسا مع جوارديولا. يومها جوارديولا. ساسكت قليلا ايها السيدات والساده. وبطوله 24 يرفعها الكبير تشافي هرنانديز، وهذه خطيره لويس سواريز خارج ارضيه الملعب. الكره انه حتى ما قبل الهدف اللي سجله هذه خطيره. حاله تسلل على ميسي، حاله تسلل على ليونيل ميسي. هذا البرسا من يطوله، من يطوله، من يصل له، من ينازع في هذه السنوات. الان كره الملك، هذا نيمار، مر الان، مر تقدم، سدد، اوهو خارج أرضية الملعب، خارج أرضية الملعب. لكن شيئا فشيئا تقترب الأمور. كيف هي التوليفة ما بين سواريز ما بين نيمار طبعا الذي سبق طبعا سواريز في القدوم إلى هنا، لكن في مملكة ميسي. هذه محاولة عالية خطيرة. شو اللي صار بعدين؟ مارادونا اشتكى مين؟ اشتكى أود لا تكلت عن حدها، وصلتك لمرحلة الجنون، وهذه ليلة مجنون بكل معنى الكلمة. يعني هو يسأل نفسه، يعيش في صراع داخلي. شيئا فشيئا تقترب، والكرة إلى نيمار، والمحاولة بالفعل إلى داني ألفيس، العرضية بالإمكان، خطيرة، جول جول لبرشلونة. لمسة من لمسات الأسطورة، ثلاثية لبرشلونة، هدف ثالث ينهي الموضوع، ينهي الليلة. واضحة كرة الله الله من تشافي للأمام خارج أرضية الملعب. نعم هذا سواريز، التمريرة كانت في غاية الروعة. ماثيو الفرنسي يعوض جوردي ألبا، اللاعب الذي كان منطفئا في بداية الموسم ولكنه بعد ذلك عاد لأن يكون هذه تمريرة في تسلل. العالم مو بقادر على ميسي واحد، يجونهم اثنين. اي والله ميسي واحد مدوخ العالم. يشيلك ميسي ثاني معاه، لأن لاعب لا يعوض بكل معنى الكلمة، اسمه تشافي هرنانديز. يا سلام، بينما جول شرفي، هدف شرفي، هدف يسجله الاسمراني الباسكي ويليامز يسجل في الكابنو. شوف التمريرة كانت جميلة خلف المدافعين، لحظة الكرة الصعبة جدا، صعبة جدا من الوضعية الخلفية، يأتي بلمسة ساحرة، لأنه لو سجل الآن هذه خطيرة إلى شتيجن حارس المرمى، عند حارس المرمى عند الكرة الآن، وعارضية تأتي الآن، وبعد ذلك الخطورة ولكنها عالية في الكرة الماضية، عالية الكرة الماضية. الفريق نادي بلباو، خطأ يحتسب. سوسايتا يعني الأمانة دخوله أعطى وبقية الرفاق. الله 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 الله. شو اللي صار؟ شو اللي صار؟ ما ادري، زعلان ان مثلا الصيحات تتعالى في المدرجات، وانذار يرفع الان على نيمار، انذار يرفع الان على نيمار، وصلت الى نيمار. شيء غريب ما يحدث تحديدا. هل هي اللمسة الأخيرة؟ كرة جميلة، الله يا ياجو، خله يسجل، خلها تكون الليلة الأخيرة، صافرة النهاية. مبروك لبرشلونة.
واف سي سيفيا، هذا السيناريو ما شفناش من سنوات. يمشي بالكره الفريق البرشلوني، كره ممتازه جدا، ليونيل ميسي يرجع الدفاع، يخرج من قدام الثالث، لكن الرابع موجود، والكره واحده اثنين، كره خطيره، يعطي الاولويه تشافي ميسي، والكره تقطع بدفاعات فريق الاندلس. ترجع الكرة من دفاعات نادي سيفيا، باش ما يصير السيناريو المباريات السابقة، كل ما يتأخر الهدف كل ما يطمع المنافس في البارسا. يمشي ليونيل ميسي، تحسوا فيهم كبير، راكيتيتش، ميسي يسجل الكرة ليونيل. نرجع المباراة بالأرقام، رقم 6 ممتازة تشافي
Well, listen, if you want to see how they fare, City Plus is the only place that you're going to be able to do that. Just subscribe and you'll be able to watch the game in full. Now, let me cast your mind back to 2019.
نيمار يضرب الكرة والدفاع، كرة للجرانا، البارسا نيمار 1-2، ميسي عنده الشانس، يلف يدور في خطأ، نعم في فاول يستفيد منه برشلونة، والكرة ستكون سيفكر ميسي والهدف الأول من ليونيل، فكر وخطط وضرب. قلت لك اليوم يوم كبير من ليونيل. الشو الكتالوني يبدأ في 20 دقيقة عن طريق الأرجنتيني، وينه مقصره، وينه 169، ما دورش بين الرجال ولكن هو ملك الرجال، آسر القلوب. ليونيل ميسي يسجل 8 أهدافه، أول مرة كرة ثابتة من فترة وزمان، الزمن أرجنتيني عن طريق ليونيل ميسي. أين سيذهب؟ المكان محاصر، ميسي لن يغادر هذا المكان. عندنا زارا هداف البلباو 251، وعندنا ليونيل ميسي والهدف الثاني قريب. 4-3، 4 ضد 4، فما شانس، فما إمكانية، يمشي كارلوس باكا وماتيو، تكنيك ممتاز ومثلثات من وسط الدفاع من العمق الدفاعي للفريق الشليلي. خطيرة لويس وكرة في الركن.
Euros or the Copa America. There's even a few playing in the. I noticed Richarlison of Everton on target for Brazil the other day. So there are so many disruptions to pre-season these days, and throw in COVID, and you've got yourself a pre-season like no other, really. City likely to have maybe just one more outing, it seems, against Barnsley before they play Leicester, whether you consider that the opening game of the season or a glorified pre-season friendly. And then it's straight to Spurs for the opening match of the Premier League weekend. First things first, as Diaz gets in the way of the intended ball, but eventually it broke for Ched Evans, whose shot was blocked. Ake in the way, and he guides it back to Zach Steffen. Nicely laid off by Fernandinho, who signed a new deal just a few weeks ago to extend his stay at City.
So many supporters are very pleased with Fernandinho putting pen to paper. That is like a new signing, a huge signing, because we know the job that he's done for the club. Brilliant for these young lads who are coming up, training alongside and playing these pre-season matches against him. You just know he leads by example.
Well, he's 36 years old now, Fernandinho, but if you didn't know that, you'd be forgiven for thinking he was in his early 20s. The way he springs around the field and the way he reads the game has never altered. Here's João Cancelo, meanwhile, trying to bring in Rodgers, but he couldn't quite stretch out long enough. To be fair, he kept it in City possession, but not for very long, and Preston have the opportunity to break.
Well, that's his second opportunity. João Cancelo has had to look for the diagonal ball, and his pass has been spot on.
Well, referee's way play on. Barkhausen allowed to continue, but his pass is given away. Referee allowing play to continue, and it breaks out to Joshua Earl, who plays it into the path of Potts, and he goes back to Hughes.
It's interesting to see Diaz back so soon and back amongst the pre-season games, and I reckon when he came back he probably said, I want to get involved. This is the sort of character he strikes me as, but really good to see him, the fact he went as far as he did in the Euros, to see him back playing in these games.
Manchester City's player of the season, Ruben Diaz. Incredible first campaign as a Blue. "50 City appearances in all competitions already for Ruben Diaz. And there are many who feel he'll be the next captain of City in the not too distant future. And this man, Fernandinho, decides to hang up the boots. Offside against Riyad Mahrez. Strikes you as a potential captain, doesn't he, Ruben Diaz?
Oh yeah, as well. He's got the leadership qualities. He's the one that's brought in, when they're making defensive challenges and knowing how important they are, he's high-fiving, and that's now just going right through the team. When you see defensive, defending, it's him that, the Stones and them, they like Ake, they're all high-fiving because they realize how important it is, but he is a leader. You can see it in his game and in his presence.
Just showed a replay there of a shout that Morgan Rodgers had for a penalty. The referee waved it away. Long ball out towards Ched Evans, but City win it back. Mahrez with a delightful touch inside, and an opportunity maybe, which is well saved. Ben Knight came charging in, but out came Connor Ripley, and it was a good stop to deny him.
Well, an excellent through ball. He's timed his run absolutely brilliant. It's probably on his weaker foot, and therefore he makes the decision to shoot. And I think if it's on his stronger foot, he actually fakes to shoot and puts it on. He then put it on his other foot and slot it in. But good opportunity for City.
19 years old, Ben Knight. Played in the title-winning Premier League 2 City side, the under-23s in theory, but so many of those players are 18, 19 years old. Great experience for the likes of Ben Knight just to be in the dressing room alongside some of these City senior players. Riyad Mahrez a little puzzled by the decision that's gone against him. Felt he'd been impeded by Joshua Earl. Anyway, Preston have it. Goes all the way back to Ripley, who sends it long towards Potts. Won well by Fernandinho. Here's Mendy. Okay, bringing it forward stealthily, finding Pozzo, and now João Cancelo. Looks as though a bottle of peroxide blonde has found its way into the City dressing room. Quite a few have gone that way, it seems, in pre-season.
That's good if you've got the hair.
City trying to make progress with Rodgers, whose cross goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's good through ball. Rodgers there with the left-footed cross. He's overcooked that one. He'll obviously want to put in a better cross next time. But looking at the tempo, what I'm bearing in mind that the audience won't quite know is pre-season you tend to work awfully hard in the morning as well for an early session, and then you'd have a game in the evening. And so when we look at this game, again, City will be playing this game at the pace to control it, knowing that they would have had also a physical hard session earlier this morning.
No. Cole Palmer adjudged to have put his boot too high. Players, a lot of players don't look forward to pre-season training, is the impression I've got over the years.
You're very right there. We know we need it. I have to say, I never really suffered with injuries, and they were because of pre-season and getting through. So all these players may not like and enjoy pre-season, but they'll certainly enjoy the games because this is where they get the fitness, the timing, passing.
Chad Evans has it for Preston. Plays it into Earl, and Preston trying to build down their left with Andrew Hughes. João Cancelo makes life difficult. It comes off Mahrez for a Preston throw. Ryan Ledson guides it forward, looking towards the run of Barkhausen, but City again getting it away. But it's really good play that by João Cancelo. Didn't look as though he was the favourite to win that used the upper body and levered the ball into his favour.
And this is, the likes of him, Kyle Walker, having that pace allows him to recover in situations like that. And his pace certainly helped him and being aware of the situation.
Strike from Potts, going harmlessly wide. And so far, Zach Steffen hasn't had to do too much.
And this is a part I'm intrigued to see, which is, will they press? They're looking to press even this preseason because it's about getting fitness. Again, they're a good 3-4 weeks ahead of us. And the number of players they've got to look to press City and try to make City pass long. But City being City will play their way out.
Foul by Mendy gives Preston a free kick. Incidentally, the Manchester City pitch has been completely overhauled. In fact, I think it still is being fully overhauled as we speak. That's the reason City are playing here against Preston rather than on the Etihad Stadium surface. But an awful lot of work has taken place on the City pitch. Now here's a free kick to Preston, taken very, very quickly, and in the end it was turned in by Barkhausen, but City were smart enough to get that one away for a throw.
Well, I have to say, little Ben Knight switched off because he was maybe 6 shots away from the ball, and it's played. He turned away. It's played down his side, and Preston probably feel a bit unfortunate not to have capitalised in that situation. But he needs to be switched on, Ben Knight there.
Yeah, it was bailed out by Nathan Ake, who slid in to clear. Well, part of the learning process. Your responsibilities are not just about going forward, but defensively too when you're a midfielder. Now João Cancelo's turned away, a clash with Chet Evans, and the referee's given a free kick.
Yes, I think João Cancelo's read the flight of the ball to go and attack it. Evans has seen him on the corner of his eye and tried to delay him, and as he's put his arm, he's caught Cancelo somewhere in and around the face, but Cancelo is up and he seems to be okay.
City have already taken the free kick and João Cancelo is okay, as Sean rightly said. Now here's Knight taking up a good position, brings in Riyad Mahrez, and he helps it along the line to Fernandinho, and out it goes to Mendy. Back to Fernandinho again, and his pocket was picked by Barkhausen, and Preston tried to build. Ruben Diaz has been penalised, and it's a free kick to the visitors.
Cancelo, I don't think, was happy with Evans in that previous little situation, and he's just had a little word. So normally pre-seasons you want them to get on with players getting their fitness and being clean. I don't think anything much will come of that though.
Well, they're still professional footballers, no matter the occasion. Here's Riyad Mahrez with a chance maybe to take on a couple of Preston players. He finds João Cancelo, went for the bending shot, and City settle for their second corner of the game, cleared by Earl. Two-footed João Cancelo makes him such a dangerous player.
Yes, I mean, he is a player that can put the ball on his left foot, being a right-footed player, and put it in the top corner. We've seen him do it. Sometimes I've watched and thought, now seen him play enough times, I think to switch it on his left foot and curl it from that sort of angle.
He scored 3 goals last season in all competitions for the Blues, João Cancelo. Useful when defenders can weigh in with that kind of figure. Played 90 minutes for the first team against Burnley in the
جوردي ممكن نبدا اللاعبين في الشوط الاول اللي بعد 25 دقيقة نعطيكم التشكيلة. يمشي اللاعب فيتو هدف التعادل المباغت لإشبيلية، هدف لهدف وفرحة أوناي إمري، هدف مباغت هدف ضد مرماه.
Ripley knows what's coming, just doesn't know which side the bending shot's going to go. Is it to his right or to his left? The wall, of course, guarding the near post as Mahrez looks at it. He's gone above it and into the net. Delightful from Riyad Mahrez. And even though, as I mentioned, goalkeepers know what's coming, you still can't do anything to prevent it.
No, it's absolutely beautiful the way he struck it. You know, the goalkeeper, I think he's delaying as long as possible, thinking it may go to his right. Mahrez, it's a wonderful free kick into the, well, it's not quite top corner, but the goalkeeper in delaying just can't get there. Mahrez has just continued off from where he went last season.
Well, Pep Guardiola knows it may be a friendly, but he does also know that Riyad Mahrez will use an occasion like this to test out his free kick ability. And he has passed the test with flying colours, and City in the 25th minute lead Preston North End with their first goal of pre-season. Absolutely terrific free kick from Riyad Mahrez. I think Sean's probably right. I don't think it was the top corner as such, but as a goalkeeper like Ripley, he was a little bit caught whether to go right or left, and was been in no man's land in the end, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was thinking Mahrez may go to his right, and in that little bit of a delay, he can't get across to his left, and therefore it just ends up being a superbly struck free kick.
Well, he weighed in with 14 goals in all competitions last season. Riyad Mahrez. It's probably his best ever season, you could argue, for City. Not just the statistics, but the way in which he played. Riyad Mahrez seemed to be at the peak of his powers. 30 years old now. Captain of Algeria. Now the ball has gone out towards Rodgers. If he can keep it in, he can't.
Slightly overhit by Fernandinho, but Fernandinho's hit 2 or 3 diagonals that's come off. That one is probably 6 inches just too long. Again, we're talking about timing. This is the rhythm that they're looking for, that range of passes, whether it's short or long, and getting that rhythm. And as he gets more minutes and more games, this is where you'll see those passes be spot on.
And a quick glance at Frankie McAvoy, the Preston manager, took over in March and got some good results actually in the last few games of the season before the championship campaign closed, and was given the job full-time after initially being given it as a caretaker role after Alex Neil was removed from the position. He was the assistant to Alex Neil before stepping up. And he's in charge of his first full campaign as Preston boss. It's a relentless season, the championship. 46 league games, and then you start in the first round of the Carabao Cup as well. Stepping up. And you start a week before the Premier League, and you finish a week before the Premier League finishes. As Preston boss. And Sean knows only too well what a hectic division it is, the championship.
It's never ending, but it's not forgiving as well, because each game is, each opponent comes up. It's a real physical challenge and an aggressive challenge. It isn't, tackles. They probably go in for tackles.
And Sean knows only too well.
This is a good class, because again they're a little bit ahead in terms of fitness. So this is what Pep will want. Can we retain the ball? Retain possession, move the ball, get that rhythm until we get to the final third and see that interplay. Mahrez coming in off the line, Cancelo driving in and coming into that number 10 position as well.
It was Pozzo who was fouled for the free kick that City have now taken. João Cancelo and Riyad Mahrez combining sweetly as ever. In the end, Mahrez just losing out in the challenge too early. And away come Preston on the counter-attack with Barkhausen tried to find Chet Evans, who then caught Fernandinho. And City have a free kick.
Well, just going back to that situation with Mahrez, Mahrez had beat him that badly that the play was off balance and fell into Mahrez. How the foul was given, I'm quite not sure. I'm sitting there smiling because he absolutely beat him. He absolutely tore him apart.
That's what we were talking before about how João Cancelo is two-footed, Riyad Mahrez equally so these days, and the fact that he can go outside or inside makes him such a difficult player to mark. Here's Cole Palmer, meanwhile, for the Blues, who lead through that Mahrez goal. Mendy around the outside, brilliant burst from him, cleared but not too far. Rogers then has a go, and Ripley's in the right position to stop Morgan Rogers, who was on loan last season at Lincoln City, and you may recall got all the way to the playoffs in League One, weighed in with a few useful goals as well, and he was on target there but lacked the power. Palmer, meanwhile, for the Blues, who lead through that Mahrez goal. Mendy around the outside.
I'm really liking the look of Rogers.
Ripley's in the right position to
He's again, City players have this really good technique, so it'll be interesting to see him get in and around the goal to see what his abilities like in terms of the shots and working the goalkeeper.
I first saw Morgan Rogers playing for West Brom against City in a youth cup tie. He then joined the Blues the following season and has been given senior action at Lincoln. Meanwhile, Preston trying to open City up here. Clearance goes as far as Ledson, whose shot is not particularly well struck, and Zach Steffen is down comfortably for the Blues.
Actually, Preston will be real pleased. Nathan Aki does some good defending, clears it, gets it just outside the box, and that shot doesn't really work the keeper enough. But Preston will be pleased with getting in the final third and having a shot.
Stefan is down comfortably for the Blues. Ripley deciding to go long with Knight close by. João Cancelo wins the header. Breaks for Riyad Mahrez into the path of Fernandinho. Plenty of options to his right and left. Goes to Rogers, and here is Rogers. Can he find a shot? Just closed off as he attempted to release the ball. Finds Palmer. Brings in Mendy. And now Fernandinho to go long with Knight close by. João Cancelo wins the header. Breaks for Riyad Mahrez into the path of Fernandinho. Nicely slipped through to Palmer. Right and left goes to Rogers, and here is Rogers. Here's Rogers again. Tried to play it to Mahrez on the edge of the area, but Potter's in the way. And Preston tried to build, but Diaz is there to read it well, and Potso with a header, and now João Cancelo gets the return from Potso, and City down this right-hand side, looking a menace with Mahrez and Cancelo back in the groove. There's Rogers again. And there's Mahrez, gets to the byline and takes the deflection on the cross, and it goes out for another corner. To build, but Diaz is there to read it well.
Again, these two just combine, and you have it, no, you have it. Cancelo, no, you have it. It's a brilliant play.
Corner taken short to Palmer. Back to Mahrez, who delivers. Trying to find Ake. Cleared as far as Fernandinho. Goes out for another corner. Delightful play from Fernandinho, that really was. His cross was deflected, but it still reaches Mahrez. Here's João Cancelo. On the far side was Knight, and that was the intended recipient, but the ball goes out for a throw-in.
Well, we just saw a little moment there. Fernandinho, defensive midfielder, ends up in a wide position. I think he just had to remind the defender that this Brazilian, a few step overs. He'll be disappointed with the actual cross, but he done enough to get more than a yard, sending him the wrong way. So, but Fernandinho would not want to be in those positions. He would want to be central, dictating play. Well, we just saw a little moment there. Fernandinho
did really well, Fernandinho.
I think he just had to remind the defender that this Brazilian, a few step overs.
350 City appearances, Fernandinho.
Sending him the wrong way, so but Fernandinho would not want to be in those positions. He would want to be central, dictating play.
Hopefully another 50 more at least next season with his fitness levels. the start of last season, City could play in 62 matches. They ended up playing in 61. The only one they didn't play in was the FA Cup final. They played the maximum of Champions League, Carabao Cup. Obviously next season with his fitness levels. Here's João Cancelo. City could play in 62 matches. They ended up nicely taken by Rodgers. Now Mahrez. They played the maximum of. There's plenty of activity on the sideline as we reach the last 10 minutes of the first half. A number of City substitutes available, and doubtless we'll see all of them at some point. Here's João Cancelo. Here's Mahrez.
It's quite normal what we're seeing Preston Northern do now, which is really just stay compact. You know, again, they'll be happy with the possession the City have outside the box, but they certainly want to have bodies to make it compact.
Well, the through ball does not catch Barkhausen offside, and in the end it was excellent goalkeeping by Zach Steffen, the sweeper keeper, you could call him that.
Brilliant bit of goalkeeping.
Now City on the counter-attack. Mahrez and João Cancelo again combining, but this time won by Hughes. But Zach Steffen absolutely faultless. Now here's Fernandinho, might think about clipping it through towards Rodgers, and almost did. Here's Pozzo, he's just beaten to it, and Preston, you can call it, smuggle the ball away. But goalkeepers don't just have to make contributions with their hands, they have to make them with their feet, and Zach Steffen has to be applauded for the way that he got there in front of Barkhausen a few moments ago.
Well, they were looking to counter-attack Preston there, and who ends up there breaking it up? Well, it's Fernandinho. Again, just knowing where to be, positioning himself. The players over knocked his dribble, and Fernandinho is there to collect that, and City regain possession. They were looking to
Okay, and Fernandinho keeping the ball between them for a few moments, not letting anyone else have a touch. And then Ake finds Ruben Diaz. Back to Ake, who played a couple of games for the Netherlands in the Euros as a substitute. Oh, that's well, the flag's gone up. Otherwise, it could have been very, very interesting, because Knight might well have been adjudged to have been through on goal there, but the flag had already gone up for offside, and Liam Lindsay's not going to be red-carded.
Wow, Benjamin Mendy is pulled off a brilliant pass. But looking at Zach here, he's read it, he's held himself thinking, I need to see the bounce, does it come through to me? He has to go, and he does exceptionally well in timing it.
A couple of major talking points. At one end, Zach Steffen with a brilliant interception, then at the other, Ben Knight looking as though he was going to steal through. Liam Lindsay held him back, but was saved by an offside call. Would have been interesting had the flag not gone up, whether the referee would have sent him off. Maybe a pre-season friendly, but rules are the rules, I suppose. Anyway, here comes Preston looking for an equaliser. Hill has it. Now Barkhausen goes back to Ledson. Ledson's ball in is a tempting one, but it's cleared in the end by Ruben Diaz, and then Cole Palmer up towards Knight. City win it back with Palmer. Palmer gets it for a third time, and then manages to get away from one challenge but not the other, and then brilliant goalkeeping by Zach Steffen in front of Barkhausen, and just as well that he was, or it would have been a tap-in for an equaliser. He's been sharp, Zach Steffen, considering he only returned to first-team training yesterday.
Yes, he looks absolutely on it. It doesn't look as though, his timing's off in any way. Again, he's really into the ball, when to come, is making the absolute right decision. And again, his handling on a few occasions has looked nice and tidy as well. He's been sharp, Zach Steffen, considering he only returned to
Here's Fernandinho, now Mendy, Fernandinho.
Doesn't look as though, his timing's off in any way. Again, he's really back to the ball.
Diaz, João Cancelo, again Mahrez available. When is he not? Pots up. João Cancelo up towards Knight. It's just above his head and was cleared in the end with a backward header by Story. City still in possession of the ball though with Rodgers, and now Fernandinho, and Mahrez has it, looking for the 1-2 with Pozzo maybe. In the end it reaches João Cancelo. When is he not? That's delightful from Cancelo, and he still manages to find Mahrez, and Mahrez clips it in towards Mendy, still in, and Palmer's over the bar. Terrific move by City. Mendy stealing in round the back, picked out by Mahrez, who held it on to Cole Palmer, and Palmer will be disappointed that he hasn't scored.
Yes, I mean, it's absolutely brilliant play. I mean, the ball by Mahrez is absolutely beautiful. And Palmer, I've been really impressed because his arrival into the box, his timing is really good. I'm really impressed with him. And I know that's it's an easy chance that he's had there, but again, we talk about timing. The more games, the more minutes you get, these sort of things become very, very simple. Yes, I mean, it's absolutely brilliant play. I mean, the ball
Cole Palmer, I mentioned, played against Burnley in 90 minutes in the Carabao Cup. He had a little cameo appearance in the Champions League against Marseille last October, and he was on the City bench 8 times in the Premier League. Very much part of the first team squad, and one thing Pep Guardiola has always done is introduce youngsters into the first team fray just so they can get a taste of what it's like to be among some of the greatest names in the game. And there's no better opportunity than pre-season to just make a name for yourself, as Phil Foden did, you may recall, a few summers ago in a Manchester derby in America. And if memory serves, in an interview after the game when Phil Foden made his bow in pre-season, Pep Guardiola said this kid's one of the best he's ever seen, and how true a prediction that's proven to be. And remember, Phil Foden's only just turned 21.
Again, we've just seen Fernandinho attempt a ball over the top, and again, we're talking a half of a foot just off the pass, and again, I just see another game or two. These passes are absolutely spot on, and you can see he's actually inches out from his passes at this moment, but they just become tighter and tighter till they become perfection. Again, we've just seen Fernandinho attempt over the top, and again, we're talking a half of foot just off the pass. And again, I just see, another game or two. These passes are absolutely spot on, and you can see he's actually inches out from his passes at this moment.
Preston trying to build from the back, and they've managed to work it through to Barkhausen, but good challenge by Ruben Diaz. Ake then in the way of Ched Evans and lays it into the path of Diaz. João Cancelo and Diaz, and now Mendy. City working it really sweetly from the back. Preston trying to, even if they are a little more sick. Here's Fernandinho. Now João Cancelo trying to thread it through to Ben Knight. A lovely attempt, wasn't it? And the run was good as well. Let's also give good marks to Ben Knight for making the dart into the area.
Yes, recognizing his space. Again, this is where we talk about Cancelo popping up in a 10 position and giving it through balls. The ball was absolutely spot on. The run, I thought, was also really good. So again, this will get tighter and cleaner. But good movement there.
Yeah, plenty of pluses in the opening 45 minutes for City.
Yes, recognising space.
Not least of which, of course, the fact that they lead through that delightful Riyad Mahrez free kick. Can't imagine the referee will add any time.
This will get tighter and cleaner.
Indeed not. So the first 45 minutes of pre-season for City goes, well, perfectly in many, many ways. A clean sheet at one end and a goal from a free kick by Riyad Mahrez. There'll be plenty of changes, I'm sure, in the second half, but so far so very, very good. At half-time, City 1. Can't will add any time. The first 45 minutes of pre-season for City goes, well, perfectly in many, many ways. A clean sheet at one end and a goal from a free kick by Riyad Mahrez. There'll be plenty of changes, I'm sure, in the second half, but so far
Manchester City are 90 minutes away, winning the Premier League for the first time.
Goal!
Breathtaking Champions.
93-20, madness.
We say it, we don't do it the easy way. 93-20, forever in our history. And for this season, it's woven into our fabric.
93-20, madness.
Manchester, it's a different city. We say it, we don't do it the easy way. 93-20, forever in our history. And for this season, it's woven into our fabric.
93-20, madness.
Manchester, it's a different city. 20 forever in our history.
الفريق الإيطالي الكبير نادي اليوفنتوس. ميسي اللي كل ما قالوا انتهى فاجأهم ان ابتدأ. اي نعم، كل ما قالوا انتهى فاجأهم ان اوه الله. فريق عنده لاعب بقيمة الأسطورة ميسي عليه أن يكون جشعا. هذا هو ميسي، هذا هو النجم اللي العالم كل العالم يسعوا على ميسي اللي كل ما قالوا على ميسي انتهى لكن المساء حل من ابتدأ. طبعا ساعتين واكثر من ذلك في كل مكان في الوطن الباسكي للامام. هذا الموسم في مباراتين برشلونة فريق عنده لاعبا بقيمة الأسطورة ميسي والصيحات من المدرجات كذلك تأتي لأن هناك غضب بينما كان اللاعب في المباراة النهائية. محاولة للأمام خطيرة، ويليامز الشاب الأسمراني الباسكي هنا وصلت في الجهة اليمنى عالية وللأمام وخطيرة. الكرة ماضية، فريق لا يركن للدفاع. نورث ويصل الفريق الباسكي، يهدد الفريق الباسكي هذا الصباح وفي هذا الظهر وفي هذا المساء للحاضرين من طبعا من اقليم الباسك. هذه الكرة تلعب جميلة للامام، والسؤال المطروح النقاد والمهتمين والمتابعين كيف يستطيع إرنستو فالفيردي مدرب نادي بلباو ان يضع الحلول لMSN. وتاتي المحاولة الله جميلة لكن تسلل، حالة تسلل. الراية مرفوعة لكن ميسي مرة أخرى نعم. أول وصول، أول تهديد، عينك على ميسي ما الذي يفعله بالكاس، لكن ذلك توقف منذ عام 84. هذه محاولة الآن من راكيتيتش خطيرة للأمام، حارس المرمى يتصدى في الكرة الماضية ولا وجود لخطأ، والكرة في المكان الخطير، فرصة للأمام والتسديدة تأتي والتصدي مرة أخرى، والكرة على ما يبدو إلى ضربة مرمى. 90 البارسا لعب المباراة النهائية لكأس الملك ب7 لاعبين، كان منهم فيجو وكان منهم رايزيجر الهولندي، وهذه الليلة 7 لاعبين أيضا يبدون. سيدات وسادة تتابعونها عبر قنوات. مرور من نيمار، العرقلة بعد ذلك والخطأ موجود، والخطأ على بوستينز الموجود من كل المدربين. كيف نحاصر ميسي، كيف نقف أمام ميسي، لا أحد يقف أمام ميسي. الكرة جميلة والكرة كانت عن طريق بيكي، وصلت هنا إلى ميسي محاصر بلاعبين. عنده سنتين مع الفريق اللاعب بالنفياغا. محاولة قائمة صافرة تأتي الآن. برشلونة في اللحظات الماضية الفريق الأفضل ميدانيا في أرضية الملعب، وهذا سان خوزيه اللاعب الممتاز بكل معنى الكلمة. طبعا الحديث هنا عن سان خوزيه الذي بالمناسبة اليوم وليس اللحظات الماضية. وبعد ذلك طبعا تألق حارس المرمى هيريرين في إبعاد. هذه كرة خطيرة تبدو الآن، ولكن الصافرة تأتي أجواء بكل معنى الكلمة في السوبر الإسباني. المباراة الأولى في سان ماميس والمباراة الثانية في هذا الملعب، والمباراتين بحول الله تعالى عبر قنوات أبو ظبي الرياضية. هذه كرة، هذا ميسي، جول الحل ميسي. إذا غابت الحلول ما لك إلا ميسي. إذا أغلقت الطرق فهنالك من يعرف طريقا آخر، إنه ميسي مرة أخرى يمسي على البرشلوني في كل مكان. أي والله، تو في الملعب شو اللي وداه المدرجات بالنسبة له هذا الكبير في الكامينو في هذه الليلة المثيرة والجميلة بكل معنى الكلمة. هدف لا شيء حتى الآن في المباراة النهائية. الآن وصلت إلى ميسي، وميسي في المكان. الله جميلة حلوة الكرة الماضية. محاولة وصلت إلى ميسي، نقلت في المكان السليم. ما في تسلل خطيرة. السيد إنريك خطيرة، فرصة. المخرج ما جابها من البداية، ولكنه كان يعيد لعبة ميسي. وهنا جيرار بيكي، فريق نادي برشلونة الفريق اللي يستحوذ بالفعل. ووصلت الآن، وهذه خطيرة، جول. في هذه الليلة كرة لصالح اللاعب ريكو. امبوسيبل المستحيل ممكن. يعتقد البعض أنها هي أصبحت مستحيلة. أصبح ثالث لاعب يسجل في 3 نهائيات بعد طبعا 14، لأنه الرقم المفضل بالنسبة لي للاعب بقيمة كرويف. خطيرة، فرصة للأمام. وهذه الليلة لدينا في برشلونة اللاعب بالقميص رقم 4 إنه راكاتيتش. من كان يرتدي القميص رقم 4 تاريخيا في تاريخ البرسا؟ إنه الكبير بيب جوارديولا، والكبير في كرة القدم الإسبانية. هذه محاولة من جانب ويليامز في الكرة الماضية لكن تبعد. 2009 سجل في 3-0 مع بيدرو هدفين، بيدرو وهدف لميسي. سجل في مباراة 4-1 في 2000. بل إنه يتلذذ بتحطيمه، يتلذذ. شوف عاد لما يتلذذ بتحقيق كل العصور، هو محق في ذلك. هذه كرة للأمام الآن، المرور. الله جميلة لا زالت ولا خطيرة الكرة الماضية والراسية. لكن قبل ذلك في لدينا طبعا وكان برشلونة، وكان ربما كل لاعبي برشلونة يتمنون قدوم هذا اللاعب الذي جاء بعد ذلك. خطير الفريق بعد ذلك، من أشهر الأسماء التي دربت الفريق مع مارتشيلو بيلسا. هذه كرة تلعب للأمام، وهذه محاولة قائمة الآن وخطيرة. فرصة هدف، جول. متعة ما بعدها متعة يا برشلونة. المتعة عنوانها برشلونة، ولا كأنهم يلعبون مباراة نهائية. يسهل طريق برشلونة ويصعب كذلك من مهمة الفريق الباسكي اللي معه. وبالتالي هذه كرة إلى صافرة، إلى وجود خطأ في الكرة الماضية. تبدو الأمور صعبة، مع ذلك الفريق الشجاع. خطير، الله، حلوة الكرة الماضية، حلوة من الأسمراني الباسكي. هذا يحدث للمرة الأولى في تاريخ كرة القدم الإسبانية. خطأ أعتقد فيها انذار. نعم الانذار مستحق، أنا قلت انذار ولسه الحكم ما حط طبعا إيده. ضربة حرة مباشرة، كرة ملعوبة. الله في الكرة الماضية، كرة جميلة من ميسي بالقدم اليسرى. ياهي سنوات يعيشها ميسي. الشوط الأول من المباراة النهائية رقم 114 في كأس الملك الإسباني. الشوط الأول هنا في الكامب نو الكبير. والى بدايه الشوط الثاني من طبعا نهائي كاس الملك الاسباني هنا 2015 هنا في الكامب نو. الامور حسمت، تبدو الامور كذلك على الاقل حتى الان مع بدايه المباراه في شوطها الثاني. لكن عام بعد عام يرحل من المراقب المتابع، وكرة خطيرة ولكن يطالب السيد فالفيردي بعودة لاعبيه في هذه اللحظات خطيرة. هذا ميسي، هذا لاعب لا يشبه أحدا ولا أحد يشبهه ولا يمكن لأحد أن يشبهه. هي بالنسبة للبرشلوني لحظة في غاية الحزن الآن، لأن هي اللحظات الأخيرة طبعا مع البرسا مع غوارديولا. يومها غوارديولا. سأسكت قليلا أيها السيدات والسادة. وبطولة 24 يرفعها الكبير تشافي هرنانديز، وهذه خطيرة لويس سواريز خارج أرضية الملعب في الكرة. أنه حتى ما قبل الهدف اللي سجل هذه خطيرة. حالة تسلل على ميسي، حالة تسلل على ليونيل ميسي. هذا البرسا من يطوله، من يطوله، من يصل له، من ينازع في هذه السنوات. الآن كرة الملك، هذا نيمار، مر الآن، مر تقدم، سدد، اوهو خارج أرضية الملعب، خارج أرضية الملعب. لكن شيئا فشيئا تقترب الامور. كيف هي التوليفه ما بين سواريز ما بين نيمار طبعا الذي سبق طبعا سواريز في القدوم الى هنا، لكن في مملكه ميسي. هذه محاوله عاليه خطيره. شو اللي صار بعدين؟ مارادونا اشتكى مين؟ اشتكى اود لا تكلت عن حدها، وصلتك لمرحله الجنون، وهذه ليلة مجنون بكل معنى الكلمة. يعني هو يسأل نفسه، يعيش في صراع داخلي. شيئا فشيئا تقترب، والكرة إلى نيمار، والمحاولة بالفعل إلى داني ألفيس، العرضية بالإمكان خطيرة، جول جول ثالث لبرشلونة. لمسة من لمسات الأسطورة، ثلاثية لبرشلونة، هدف ثالث ينهي الموضوع، ينهي الليلة. واضحة كرة الله من تشافي للأمام خارج أرضية الملعب. نعم هذا سواريز، التمريرة كانت في غاية الروعة. ماثيو الفرنسي يعوض جوردي ألبا، اللاعب الذي كان منطفئا في بداية الموسم ولكنه بعد ذلك عاد لأن يكون هذه تمريرة في تسلل. العالم مو بقادر على ميسي واحد، يجونهم اثنين. اي والله ميسي واحد مدوخ العالم، يجي لك ميسي ثاني معاه، لأن لاعب لا يعوض بكل معنى الكلمة اسمه تشافي هرنانديز. يا سلام، بينما جول شرفي، هدف شرفي، هدف يسجله الاسمراني الباسكي ويليامز يسجل في الكامب نو. شوف التمريرة كانت جميلة خلف المدافعين، لحظة الكرة الصعبة جدا، صعبة جدا من الوضعية الخلفية، يأتي بلمسة ساحرة، لأنه لو سجل الآن هذه خطيرة إلى شتيجن حارس المرمى، عند حارس المرمى عند الكرة الآن، وعارضية تأتي الآن، وبعد ذلك الخطورة ولكنها عالية في الكرات الماضية، عالية الكرات الماضية. الفريق نادي بلباو، خطأ يحتسب. سوسايتا يعني للأمانة دخوله أعطى وبقية الرفاق. الله 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 الله. شو اللي صار؟ شو اللي صار؟ ما ادري زعلان ان مثلا الصيحات تتعالى في المدرجات. وانذار يرفع الان على نيمار. انذار يرفع الان على نيمار. نيمار. شيء غريب ما يحدث تحديدا. هل هي اللمسة الأخيرة؟ كرة جميلة. الله يا ياجو، خله يسجل، خلها تكون الليلة الأخيرة. صافرة النهاية. مبروك لبرشلونة.
Come on in this second half. It's probably easier just as they touch the ball to do it rather than go through a list of 10 names with you. But, the first pass is aimed towards one of those substitutes who come on inevitably. Luke Bolton trying to get a touch there. It's gone out for a
The good thing is a lot of these City players, the young ones, are all used to playing with each other. So I would imagine that again, they'll want to, similar to the lads who've gone off, get that rhythm, get that touch, get that first pass, that length of pass in terms of those who knock those long passes, get that rhythm going.
Stefan has the ball at his feet. Guides it into the path of Pablo Moreno, Spanish striker who City signed from Juventus, was on loan at Girona last season in the second tier of the Spanish league. So important for these young players to get meaningful game time. Ball goes out to Sami Dozy, who has the chance to attack from this left-hand side. The youngster who was part of the Premier League 2 title-winning side and previously the FA Youth Cup winning squad. And he's already won a free kick for City.
This will give him a nice bit of confidence, receiving a ball early, driving at the Preston North End's defence, and getting that foul. So this, as a forward coming on, this he'll want more of this. He'll be looking to be fed more, to have those, to be able to run at Preston North End.
Well, hovering over the free kick is the aforementioned Pablo Moreno, but also Patrick Roberts, who has been with City for a number of years now. It's Pablo Moreno that hits the free kick. It struck the centre of and here's the first touch of the second half for Claudio Gomez. Goes all the way back to Zach Steffen, French-born midfielder who came on as a substitute in the FA Cup last season at Swansea. You may recall Claudio Gomez had around about 8 or 9 minutes there. Here's Luke Bolton. Stopped in his tracks. Preston haven't made changes by the look of it. Story there making the intervention.
Be interesting to watch Claudio Gomez. He's in that holding role. You know, he obviously trained with the first team and be able to see what Fernandinho has been able to do. I'm intrigued to see how he sniffs out the play. Certainly one of the
such an important role for any Pep Guardiola team, but he's been caught in his tracks there a little bit. Preston trying to build, but good foot in by Sandler. Here's Barkhausen. But that is a free kick to the Blues because of the challenge on James McAtee, who is another of those successful and here's one of them, Edozie. Well, it would have been, but Ripley diving at the feet of Edozie and stopping him getting to the ball.
It's not, I mean, it's really the timing of his run. It's just asked a little too much for him, but the thought and the execution is well, not so much the execution, but the thought is right as to try to get it between that fullback.
City win it back very swiftly with Finlay Burns, 18 years old, regular in the Premier League 2 title-winning team last season. Sandler trying to pick out Edozie, just too firm on the pass, goes out for a Preston throw. Good to see him back playing again. Last time he played for Pep Guardiola was in the FA Cup and Carabao Cup of January 2019. One game against Burton, another against Rotherham. He was then loaned out to Vincent Kompany's Anderlecht, where he picked up an injury. 24 years old now, the Dutchman.
I'm intrigued to see Preston North End's mentality, because again, Preston will have these players have been around the block in terms of the Championship and even some in League One. But to knowing that they're playing against 18-year-olds, 19 and younger, they wouldn't want to get passed off the pitch. So I think we may see the tasty challenge. So I'm intrigued to see how their game changes as opposed to what we saw Preston do in the first half.
Well, they've won the ball back in City territory here, Preston. But City have got it back themselves, but Matt Smith has been penalised. 21-year-old midfielder, Frankie McAvoy, with a very different proposition now in the second half. In the first half, he probably would have to accept that City were the better team, but now the onus will be on his side to try and outfight the youngsters, even if it is a pre-season friendly. Here's Potts. The weather's changed rather dramatically in the last few minutes. Bit of weak summer sunshine has made way to some teeming rain. Welcome to British summertime. Free kick to Preston. You just see there on those pictures the rain coming down. Here's Vandenberg for Preston. Lays it straight into the path of Story. Now Vandenberg with a chance to attack City. The ball clipped in, was a useful one, but the header over the top by Brad Potts just couldn't stretch out tall enough.
Yes, the delivery initially when I watched him cross it, I thought actually it was a great ball, but I think it's just a little, probably, a half a foot too high for him. Potts just can't get over it. It may have been better flashing that ball for Potts to slide in and get on the end, but not bad play by Preston.
I mentioned that City have made 10 substitutions. Preston haven't made any so far. But And I mentioned earlier that this is their 6th pre-season friendly, so a lot more game time already in the legs of many of the players out there. But it's a chance for you to have a look at some of the promising young talent that City have coming through the ranks, and there's plenty of them who will be knocking on the first team door, trying to follow in the footsteps of the likes of Phil Foden. And Pep Guardiola has certainly got a reputation for giving them that opportunity. And here's Luke Bolton. I suppose one of the more senior men out on the show now for the City at 21. Finley Burns confident in possession. Here's Sandler. Now Bolton. Sandler again. Inside out. It's nice play by City. Good combinations. Nice first time passing and move inside out. So there's no sort of excuse that they don't know each other.
The one thing that will also be on the mind, knowing that the manager is managing this game tonight. He's not sitting, he's standing observing. Actually, he's managing them. So, you know, you would anticipate that they would all have this change of pace, this just thinking consciously that I want to perform well to stay in Pep's mind that, you know, if you're considering young players, then I'm one of those you should be considering.
Well, the Carabao Cup is often an opportunity, the FA Cup another, and even once or twice in the Champions League to blood young players. But here's one who might want to sniff of the first team, Edozie, and his shot is saved by Ripley. Made a save in the first half with his legs to deny Knight. Now he does the same to stop Edozie.
Well, he actually gets it. The defender does well. Preston fullback does well to keep him the small angle of the goal. It comes off the keeper, but the keeper does well to punch back on it. Edozie will be pleased to have hit the target, but didn't catch it as much as he probably liked.
City expressing themselves delightfully to open Preston up, and they've won a free kick because of the late challenge on James McAtee. Won the under-23 Premier League 2 title last season. He scored in the FA Youth Cup win against Chelsea a year earlier, and scored a couple of goals against Stoke City in the Premier League Cup final for the under-23 age group. Pep Guardiola watching his and indeed everybody else's move here, and that's a free kick for offside, I think, against Ched Evans.
Well, Ched Evans is an experienced player in terms of, you know, has been around the block, and, you know, one long ball to be caught offside, he'll be disappointed because he knows he can see the defender stay onside, time is run, so he'll be disappointed that he's run offside.
Preston about to make a change or two, just looking over to the Preston bench. So City in possession of the ball. Burns picks out the pass sweetly to Edozie. Fleet of foot Edozie. Sensible pass as well. Here's Roberts with that left foot of his, which has always been a feature of his game. A deflection on the shot takes it out for a City corner.
It's good play by Edozie. He runs, eventually switches to play on the far side, you know, the crime of defenders, Preston, and they managed to get a body in to deflect it for a corner. But a Dursey, again, driving down that left-hand side, looking to get the shot off.
Jean Couteau, who struck the shot that was deflected out. It'll be Roberts that takes the corner. Mentioned that sweet left foot of his. It was the in-swinger. Preston managed to get it away. Stefan again with the feet, nice and confident. Lays it to Finley Burns and on to Sandler. He brings in Bolton. It's good play by City to bring in Jean Couteau. Brazilian who was on loan at Girona last season.
The game's perhaps taking 15 minutes in the second half now to see some normal patterns that we see. We're seeing the left fullback step inside. He's just on the ball now, but he was inverted. And this is where we tend to see Cancelo in and around those areas. He's just lost possession.
James McAtee adjudged to have fouled Brad Potts. Free kick to Preston, who are about to make, looks like 3 changes, maybe 4. One of the joys of pre-season as a commentator is trying to keep on top of all the substitutions. 10 in the half-time interval and 4 more now for Preston. So 14 changes in personnel to try and keep across.
Preston, number 13, the 26 shadows is replaced by number 19, Reese. And the number.
Again, this is very typical. They're a lot more ahead in terms of their pre-season, in terms of when their season start. We're talking 60 minutes for players who are typical first teamers that'll be starting. This is what they'll be looking for, getting a good 60 minutes under their belt. Looking forward to the season.
Offside. And a free kick to City. Sandler and Burns, the 2 City centre halves. And Stefan gives it to Burns. Jean Couteau, the right back, and Luke Bolton, the left back. City caught out there, and in the end the chip over the top goes over the head of Zach Stefan and on to the top of the net. Lesson learnt there.
Well, yes, he's going with the outside his foot, and he's inches from putting it in the goal.
City's determination to play out from the back is not going to alter just because Preston are pressing them high up. And even if it is a group of young players, they still have to learn to receive the ball under pressure. It's nicely done by Claudio Gomez. It's so important, isn't it, Sean, that they learn from very early that they have to receive the ball even with someone breathing down their neck.
Well, yes, and this is why you see them do warm-ups and they do runders, 5v2, 6v3, these numbers, so that they're in these tight pockets and they can maneuver the ball out of their situations.
Well, they've manoeuvred it beautifully into the path of McAtee. City looking to maybe get themselves a second goal. It was Moreno who's on the ball again. Smith joining in. McAtee opens up nicely. That's nice. He does. Brilliant. Absolutely superb goal. goal. And Sean Gota, you are so impressed with it.
Yes, I mean, the movement, the ball skill. I got to get his name right, but the bit of trickery that he did, he really saw the defender. He fakes to shoot. And then he just does a reverse pass. Now, Dozy gets on it. And again, he's not got the biggest of angle, but he manages to squeeze it into the near post. So again, Dozy's been making those driving runs, looking to get a defender, but this time he's behind the defence and managed to get a shot, and it's police who have scored.
Well, McAtee with the assist, brilliant. Edozie with the finish, equally so. And City lead by 2-0, and Pep Guardiola may be presiding over a group of young players, but he's still just as keen to get his instructions across. And now the final player who was playing in the first half is going to make way, because Zach Steffen is going to be replaced by Kieran Slicker. So that's it. All 11 from the first half have now made way.
Substitution for City number 3.
Zach will be pleased with a clean sheet. Again, having some minutes, a bit of handling, but he's got his clean sheet. This is what goalkeepers, this is what they want. They go in the dressing room and we've got a clean sheet, well done. And this is what you want as a goalkeeper in pre-season games.
He did his best work with his feet, actually, Zach Steffen, sweeping up at the back a couple of times. Anyway, from a goal-scoring point of view, with 20 minutes of the second half gone, it is City 2, Preston 0. Sami Dozy adding to the Riyad Mahrez free kick. And remember, they're up against senior players, Preston. Several of these players will be starting the first game of the new championship season in a couple of weeks. So it is credit to the young City players that they have doubled the advantage given to them by the more senior-looking 11 in the first half. Here's McAtee, who plays such a wonderful part in that second goal. Again, he was looking towards Edozie, almost found him as well. And City do have men over here. Here's Roberts, working it onto that trusty left boot of his and still trying to work something. City under pressure, though, and Matt Smith has to go away from goal, and then it back to McAtee again. And look how comfortable these City players are in possession, even against senior pros. Here's Philippe Sandler. McAtee. On towards Pablo Moreno. Breaks towards Edozie. Preston win it back. Sean Gota, look how comfortable everybody is in possession of the ball.
Yes, they are. I mean, this is the recruitment team at City. This is one of the things they have to have is the ability to control, manipulate the ball. Obviously, game intelligence as well. But again, from goalkeeper through to centre forward, all having this ability to control the ball well and pass it accurately.
And here's Sandler. On towards McAtee, 18 years old. Now Bolton, one of the older players out on the show, 21 years old. Finlay Burns in possession, so confident, 18 years old. Jan Couto, 19. And now Gomez. Teenagers everywhere. And up against a senior Preston North End Championship lineup and playing delightful football. Here's Bolton again. And now Edozie, another teenager. Terrific wing play, and he almost threaded it through, and it was almost a third goal for City.
Again, Edozie is winning that ball. He's saying, give it to me. He's feeling this is a moment that, yes, Pep Guardiola sees him training, but he's managing him tonight, and he's thinking, I want to leave a mark. He scored himself a goal, but he gets the ball, and he's looking to cause confusion amongst the Preston defence. I love that positive attitude he's had driving at their defence.
Here's Gomez. Now Smith. Gomez again, Sandler, Bolton. I mentioned the number of players who've been loaned out to get first team experience. There's plenty out there who have. But several who have only played under 18 and under 23 football. So this will be a terrific experience for them. Here's Bolton, who was at Dundee United last season in the top division in Scotland. Gomez and Ian Kuto. That's a foul. Free kick to City.
Yeah, I anticipate a couple of tackles coming from Preston because I've seen the rhythm start. You know, City starting to get a bit of rhythm. Again, they're moving the ball from left to right, and these players know, you know, the cobwebs coming on as a whole team second half, but the cobwebs you see are going. They're moving the ball, shifting it, and I'm looking, and you could not, you know, you look at this and you think 18 euros, 19 euros, and we know Preston have got some players that have played, you know, over 250 games. Some have played Premier League and Championship. So again, the one thing you don't want to do is be taking your mickey off. So again, City are being professional. They're moving the ball, but there'll be one or two, you know, defenders that will be saying, hey, get tighter. So I would anticipate, you know, perhaps the odd tackle. Senior players don't like to be run around.
Well, another two changes for Preston. Tom Bayliss and Josh Harrop coming on.
Number 17, Ben White, will be replaced by number 7, Tom Bayliss.
So free kick to City for the foul by Ledson on Jan Kuto, who was one of those who went off, by the way, Ledson. Here's Roberts, on loan at Derby County last season, Patrick Roberts. Here's Bolton, does really well. Sells the dummy and gets himself some space.
Oh, the dummy was that good. I fell for it. It was really good. Good footwork, and he turned out of that and switched to play.
I wondered where Sean was off to there. All is explained. 19 minutes to go. City's first pre-season friendly of the 21-22 season. And they lead by 2-0 despite having changed all 11 players who started the first half. Goals from Edozie in the second half, and the first half team scorer was Riyad Mahrez. All the senior players are now on watching brief, watching the second half action. And to be fair, they were up and applauding when Edozie popped in the second goal. Berg, but nicely trapped by Sandler, and the pass is excellent as well to bring in Gomez. Here's Smith. 21, part of the Welsh squad actually, out in the Euros. Matt Smith was at Doncaster on loan last season. Here's Gomez, who really does look extremely comfortable in possession of the ball in that holding midfield position. But Jan Kuto has lost the ball, and in his attempt to win it back was penalised. Free kick taken quickly by Preston. Here's Van den Berg on the outside, and the flag is up for offside, and City will have a free kick. Cross came in from Van den Berg, but the flag was raised.
Well, Preston tried to catch City napping there, done a quick free kick, it went wide, flashed it across, but City was switched on. Even though these are young lads, they understand and know the game that you can switch off at any time. So brilliant bit of alertness by the City defence there.
Slicker playing it along the floor to Moreno, who was muscled out of it. Pablo Moreno, 19 years old, scored a couple of goals on loan at Girona last season. A tackle by Bolton on the slide. Bolton saw that intended pass towards Van den Berg, cut it out well. The Doze has been beaten to it, and it's a Preston throw. I noticed at the weekend that Taylor Harwood-Bellis made his Anderlecht debut on Sunday for Vincent Kompany on loan at the Belgian club. Another player who's come through the City ranks, signed a new contract actually in the summer, Harwood-Bellis. And if memory serves, he made his debut for City's first team against Preston when these two sides last met in a meaningful game in the Carabao Cup. Can't think of a better player to learn from than your head coach Vincent Kompany as a central defender for Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Anyway, here's Edozie, who's already scored and has been lively down the left-hand side. Smith plays it out to Roberts, left-footed on the right side for the Blues. And he works the opening well and got underneath his shot. Everything but the shot was really impressive, wasn't it?
Yes, he's coming off the right flank. We know he wants to get on that left foot. He's actually trying to generate too much power, therefore gets under it. So he'll want to be hitting the target next time round.
He's been on loan at a number of different clubs over the years, Patrick Roberts. But the flag is not going up, and Slicker had to come out. And there's a fearful crack between the two players. Slicker, I think, might well be concussed here. It does look as though he's dazed. Let's hope he's all right.
Yeah, he's moving. He's up. Well, not up, but he is moving. But that was, I mean, his decision making there. He paused to delay to see whether or not the ball was going to come through. With the bit of drizzle, he realized it did come through. He had it in his hands, and his momentum through having it then takes him into the striker who's running to try to receive that pass, and therefore his land. I think it's the land that puts him in a bit of trouble, but hopefully it's not too bad.
Well, it was Slicker and Bayliss who collided with each other, and the medical teams are on for both players. It did look as though Slicker might have been momentarily concussed there, I have to say, and I think City are very quickly warming up Zach Steffen to take his place, which is understandable. And Kieran Slicker, who's only been out on the field about 5 or 10 minutes, he's going to have to leave it immediately, sadly.
This is one thing, you know, as players, you hopefully he is okay. But as players in pre-season, you know, you go off and knowing sometimes you may have to come on because things like this can happen. I think it's important for Zach to stay loose, and we'll probably find when City attacking, he's actually warming himself back up if he actually comes on. I think Pep will make the decision anyway, just to make sure that the kid's okay.
Yeah. Let's hope Kieran Slicker is okay, because it was a fearful crack that he took from Tom Bayliss. The two of them just honestly going for the ball, nothing other than an honest collision, but both felt the brunt of each other's bodies, and Slicker hit the deck rather dramatically.
That becomes for goalkeepers, we talk about players making decisions and decision making. He's made the right decision. He actually paused, and he paused because if the ball holds up, then he's in no man's land by going. Hit back to back. I think for the keeper, I think it was the landing in that how he hit the ground that's caused him the bother. But his decision making, I think, was spot on. And normally those sort of situations for young goalkeepers, they tend not to get too right. But he's made the absolute right decision. He was spot on, and it's just unfortunate. And he's landed on his back on the ground. So let's hope he's okay.
Well, Zach Steffen has come on, not just because he's going to replace Kieran Slicker, but just to check on the youngster's condition.
Zach's taking upon himself to do his warm-up now, which is right, as you know, will be another minute or so, but to get himself loose and warm, because the last thing we want is Zach Knight to go on and Zach to not be warm and only some 10 minutes and so to go and not be wrong and injure himself by pulling a muscle.
Well,
in saying that, he's had very little, Preston, it's not really challenged him. But again, we know football. This delay, they could switch you on and create an opportunity.
Well, if you're just joining us, we have a break in play because of an accidental collision between City's second half substitute goalkeeper Kieran Slicker and Tom. Fortunately, Kieran Slicker took a hefty old whack, and he's now under the careful scrutiny of the medical teams here. Just checking on his well-being and making sure that he's getting the very best attention.
The Preston season is not too, obviously the championship starts before the Premier League. Last season, they fared sort of mid-table, change of manager towards the end of the season. I wonder if they're going through a phase in that, the previous manager wanted to play football, play a certain way. Preston Northern people are workmanlike and want you to get stuck in. So it'd be interesting to see. Clearly what we've seen here, them trying to play football, but I would imagine when we get to the start of their season, they'll be a little bit more direct, a little bit more physical, and again, pre-season, it's about just getting the minutes in and trying to avoid injuries, even accidental ones such as this, and let's hope that he's okay as well.
Well, as is right and proper, the medical team are taking as much time as is necessary to make sure that Kieran Slicker is okay. And it is absolutely correct that no one is rushed, nobody is hurried. Everything has to be done precisely and correctly.
Because we have such a young squad, normally you'd be thinking, move around. As they're gathering, you see them gathering their bits, move around, keep yourself moving, because we look like we're, a minute or so away from restarting. But these players, they're 18 and they feel as though they can't, just pull an injury of some sort. But again, we've had, I'm not sure how long this delay has been, but again, the little drizzle coming down, they would have cooled down a little bit. So see one or two stretching the thighs and quads and etc. It's important they get themselves moving to restart again, so there's no injuries there.
Well, it goes without saying that we wish Kieran Slicker a speedy recovery, and let us hope that he is back and raring to go sooner rather than later. But he is just being helped away from the pitch, and he goes with our heartfelt wishes for a speedy recovery. And indeed, Pep Guardiola comes over to check on the young man's well-being. So the play restarts after that lengthy delay. And just a reminder, Zach Steffen, who had come off, has now come back on to replace Kieran Slicker for the remaining few minutes of the game. I don't know if the referee will add on all the time that was lost by the injury. But anyway, we have roughly 5 minutes to go, and Preston have a free kick. Preston have a corner.
Well, that resulting free kick end up getting the foul because they were a little bit switched on to that. That's what you get with senior players.
Preston corner. Which City have to defend. Sandler did well, rose the highest, and in the end got it out of harm's way. Dangerous in it. Ball breaks sweetly, and he dozes on the ball again. McAtee was once short back pass, and in the end Ripley thumping it away as Smith was trying to get it for the Blues. Here's Gomez. Here's Gomez again. Now Sandler. And Bolton. Pass intended for Sandler, but picked off by Maguire. Incidentally, the Preston player who collided with Kieran Slicker, Tom Bayliss, is okay and is continuing to play as the flag goes up for offside.
One would say that, City hold a good line, or one would say that Preston just do not time their runs. The number of times they've been caught offside, and I'd like to say it's City holding that line very well, being disciplined and catching Preston up.
With a couple of minutes to go, They've won themselves yet another corner. I think it's about their third in 5 minutes since the break in play. To be fair, City have defended high balls quite well. Got another one to test them here. And again, it was Sandler who got his head to the ball. Played in by Harrop, goes out for yet another corner. As we reach the 90th minute. Again, I think it was Sandler that got the touch. Maybe Burns behind him, but either way, City got the first ball away. They're going to have to deal with the second ball now. Dozy trying to make it difficult, but Preston still threatening, and well, they went right across the face of the goal, and nobody able to get a touch wearing green, and City get that one away. It's a wicked ball in by Rafferty.
City had done really well and just wouldn't want to concede a goal, and to be fair, Preston had a really good opportunity there. Player sliding far post, just unable to make that contact. But all the hard work that City have done to keep this clean sheet, they just need to see through by maintaining possession.
So 5 minutes of added time because of the injury to Kieran Slicker. City leading with those 2 goals, 1 in each half. Riyad Mahrez from a free kick in the first half. Edozie with a left foot shot in the second after some excellent work by McAtee. And Zach Steffen looks as though he's going to get a clean sheet in his first meaningful work of pre-season. Free kick though to Preston, who have certainly tried their utmost to at least get themselves on the score sheet in the remaining minutes of the game. We're into the second minute of added time of 5. And Josh Harrop is standing over the delivery of this free kick. Headed away by Gomez. Another example of how well City have dealt with crossed balls into the box. Certainly worked hard out of possession, the Blues. And they've had to work exceptionally hard in the latter stages of the contest.
Players are very vocal, centre backs there saying no foul, squeeze, push up, keep his head down. This is the information that's given to make sure they try to keep this clean sheet and see this game through.
3rd minute of added time. Another good block. This time by McAtee. Bayliss. Worked out wide towards Story. Good in by McAtee. Tried to thread it through for Roberts. It's a good idea. Couldn't quite complete the pass.
This is certainly what you'll find with the City first team players, that ball will be capped, the ball will be shifted, and this is what, you know, Pep, I'm sure, will be saying to the youngsters that are trying that ball over the top. If you're going to, it has to come off, because again, we're now having to defend late in the game. The game is won, but this is all about the development and learning, and also getting the minutes in for these young lads.
Well, Sean, as we reach the last 90 seconds of added time, what's impressed you most about the second half City team?
Well, we saw but I'm impressed with the, you know, again, some of the players, the communication, we expect that. Normally you get with young players to
lineups. The first half had the senior pros, all those who were available anyway. The likes of Mahrez, Fernandinho, Diaz, Cancelo, Ake, Mendy. Second half, other than Zach Steffen, just a lot of young players who've come through the academy. Here's Patrick Roberts, one of those who was signed a number of years ago, didn't come through the academy, but City start their pre-season with a terrific performance and a really good display. Two different lineups in the first half and the second, a goal in each half, one from the second, a really nice move ended by Edozie. And just one rather worrying moment when Kieran Slicker was unfortunately involved in a collision that saw him carried off. We wish him well, and I'm sure we'll bring you news of his well-being on the City website in the next few days. But for the time being, pre-season has ended with a Preston North End defeat for the Blues. City 2, Preston North End 0.
22 seasons. Please look after yourselves, each other. Please stay as safe as you can.
Well, here's the best action of this pre-season friendly. Knight with the first opportunity for City. A good save by Connor Ripley. City looking the likelier to score in the first half. In the end, it took a Riyad Mahrez bending free kick. It may be a pre-season friendly, but Mahrez clearly has his sights set already. There was another chance to make it 2 when Mahrez and Mendy combined, but Cole Palmer put the ball over the top of the bar. The City, even though they made 10 outfield changes, were still resilient, and they had to do a lot more defending in the second period. Preston didn't offer too much, to be fair, at
داخلي شيئا فشيئا تقترب. وفي 6-6 في يونيو قد يتوج بالثلاثية في دوري أبطال أوروبا عندما يقابل الفريق الإيطالي الكبير نادي اليوفنتوس. تبدأ المباراة أيها السيدات والسادة. ميسي اللي كل ما قالوا انتهى فاجأهم ان ابتدأ. اي نعم، كل ما قالوا انتهى فاجأهم ان اوه الله. فريق عنده لاعب بقيمة الأسطورة ميسي عليه أن يكون جشعا. هذا هو ميسي، هذا هو النجم اللي العالم كل العالم يصحو على ميسي ويمسي على ميسي. لكن المساء حل منذ طبعا ساعتين وأكثر من ذلك في كل مكان في الوطن. الباسكي للأمام. هذا الموسم في مباراتين برشلونة كان قد فاز ذهابا وإيابا، والصافرة تأتي والصيحات من المدرجات كذلك تأتي، لأن هناك غضب بينما كان اللاعب في المباراة النهائية. محاولة للأمام خطيرة، ويليامز الشاب الأسمراني الباسكي هنا وصلت في الجهة اليمنى عالية وللأمام وخطيرة. الكرة ماضية، فريق لا يركن للدفاع. نورث ويصل الفريق الباسكي، يهدد الفريق الباسكي هذا الصباح وهذه